Call to order the Finance Committee meeting for April 15th, 2019. Before we get into the agenda items, we have a proclamation that will be presented at this time by Mayor Borsham.
Will the rest of you come on down and help me? Can we have the representatives from the Salvation Army join us up here, please?
It's kind of hard to figure out who that is, huh?
Well, no, we're pretty smart up here, actually.
Good.
Yes. It's Charles Smith and Terry Smith. We're happy to have you here for this proclamation. Whereas a love for God and a desire to help others is the motivation behind the men and women of the Salvation Army. And whereas the Salvation Army's mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and to meet human needs in His name without discrimination. It is an international movement and is an evangelical part of the Universal Christian Church. Its ministry is motivated by the love of God, and whereas the Salvation Army in Muskogee, Oklahoma, provides much more than spiritual counseling and basic human necessities to the needy and hurting daily, and whereas the Salvation Army serves as a symbol of compassion, but more so an active participant in the provision of services to hundreds of Muskogee County men, women, and children. And whereas, in celebration of the 100 years of service to our city and county, we recognize and honor the Salvation Army for their dedication, leadership, contributions, and outstanding service. Now, therefore, Mayor Janie Boydston, Mayor of the City of Muskogee, Oklahoma, do hereby proclaim April 14, 2019 as Salvation Army Day. Thank you very much. Would you like to say something? Are you the...
I think I am the talker. Well, we are wonderful, very excited to be able to be here and have this proclamation made and the Salvation Army Day declared. It's a big day for us. We just renovated our thrift store and had a grand opening today. And so we're just excited that this has been what is happening, but we're very excited that we have been able to serve in Muskogee County, and help those that are in need. And everything that we do here in Muskogee County is to be able to help people in Muskogee County. So we want to continue to do that, and that is a very long future for the Salvation Army. My husband has a plaque here, and he's going to read what is on the back of it to present to the town.
It is on this day, on April 15th, that the Salvation Army of Muskogee, Oklahoma, presents our flag as a thank you to Mayor Janie Boydston in recognizing the Salvation Army when it began in Muskogee, Oklahoma, under the leadership of Captain W.E. Walters and Lieutenant Red Hot Frost. And the colors on this represent different items, and it's listed on the back, but we want to present this to you and thanking you for your leadership for Muskogee County.
We would like for you to shake hands with the rest of our crew here.
We would
Please.
love that.
I know one of these guys.
Oh, do you?
Thank
Oh.
you for serving our town. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And I also get a hug. That's right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I did not realize we were riding in the elevator with royalty.
No, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll get into the agenda for today. Item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes of April 1, 2019.
After reviewing the minutes, are there any corrections or additions to our minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell,
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 1 passed. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments March 28, 2019 through April 10, 2019.
Do we have a report from the purchasing committee?
Yes, purchasing committee did meet this afternoon. We did review claims, and I would recommend approval.
Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell,
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 2 passed. Item number 3, please.
Consider approval of resolution number 2753, declaring 2 parcels of property located on North Mill Street as surplus property and authorize the sale of the property to Todd and Tammy Matthews in the amount of $726 or take other necessary action.
Ms. Callahan?
Thank you. This is a standard request for surplus property. We did post the property for the required amount of time. We did not receive any other bids besides those from the Tammy and Todd Matthews. It is an advantage to surplus this to them as they have an existing structure there and can expand that structure, and it's very overgrown and be almost impossible for our city crew to mow it or keep it maintained. So it's really advantageous to get it back on the tax rolls and see if they can keep it cleaned up. And the staff does recommend approval. Answering
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 3 passed. Item number 4, please.
Consider approval of final payment to Tonto Construction Incorporated for water treatment plant residual removal from Lagoon Number 1, project number 2018023, in the amount of $4,822.35, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Riley?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and committee. This is a project that was approved earlier this year for the removal of residuals at the water plant. The residuals have been removed, and this is final payment to Tonto for that work, and we recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Having a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 4 passed. Item number 5, please.
Consider approval to award a bid for the micro-surfacing project to Vance Brothers for the Southwest Zone as part of the 5-year streets program, including add alternate number 2 for striping in the amount of $673,457, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Riley?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and committee. This is our Southwest Zone microsurfacing project. If you recall, the microsurfacing is a very thin layer, similar to what we did downtown recently. Comes out with a very good product that we've had very good results with in the past. We have used Vance Brothers before, and very pleased with their work. And we had good bids, and we're ready to go with this project and get it going. They'll start crack sealing first, and then we'll go into the micro seal later in the summer when it warms up a little more and the weather's more cooperative. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and we recommend approval.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Can I ask, when are we going to do the southeast zone?
We're already working up the streets on that. It's actually been, the streets have been approved by the Street Advisory Committee, and it'll start, money for that starts 1st of July. So
Okay. Only reason I ask is because the people in my ward kind of like feel sometimes like they get left out, like having only one park in our ward. But other than that, you know, we were kind of wondering when we were going to get our streets done, so we just thought we'd bring that up.
now we've put that together, and it will be going out to bid so that it can actually, we're going to try to get it started earlier this year than typically where we'd wait till next year.
Yeah. So to be clear, we do go around each every 5 years. We cover every part of the city, and so what's exciting about our new plan, if the tax passes, is we'll be able to do 3 times as much.
Okay. Well, Councilman Van, that was no pun, nothing towards you, okay? Just because you took like 6 of my parks when you took over that area. Just nothing against you.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Any further discussion?
Councilman, Chairman, may I be recognized?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Hall, it was no intent, because you know what? I got it covered. That's all I can say. But, Mr. Riley, I think they're going to do a great job, because I know Mr. Miller, we discussed this, and we're going to have people watching our streets and looking after them to make sure that they do their job correctly and properly. And that's all we want to do is, the money that we spend for our streets, we want the quality of work that we, on those streets. So I look forward to going around and looking myself, because I go out and look at stuff, and I think they'll do a wonderful job in the southwest section starting out. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm just glad you didn't offer to give away one of our parks. And since we're on that note, we can go ahead and go with the roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 5 passed. Item number 6.
Consider approval to award low bid to Vance Brothers for the slurry seal project at Muskogee Davis Regional Airport at a unit price of $4.15 per square yard, with a total cost not to exceed $70,000, or take other necessary action.
Drew?
Good evening, Mayor and Committee. We bid this project along with PublicWorks in order to reduce some of the bid administrative costs. We got a good price. We received 2 bids. Vance Brothers was the lowest. Vance Brothers did our runway 1331 apron taxiway Bravo project, did an excellent job, so I have faith that they will do a good job on this project as well. This will provide crack sealing and an asphaltic slurry seal on our private hangar taxiway and the apron around our T-hangars. This is not to exceed $70,000. We estimate that it will be lower than that because we have a little bit of cushion in our estimate. The funds will be through the fiscal year 2014 sales tax. We do have it available. And we recommend approval. This has also been approved by the Airport Board.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Any discussion?
Just one thing, Drew, still appreciate the job you're doing out there.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 6 passed, and with that item passed, and that is the final item on our Finance Committee meeting for today.
We will now go ahead and call the Public Works Committee meeting to order of April the 15th, 2019. Item number 1.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of April 1, 2019.
We've all had time to review. Any questions on it? Roll call. Oh, I did have a motion, I'm sorry.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 1 passes. Item number 2.
Consider the appointment of James Wilson to the Planning and Zoning Commission to serve a 3-year term beginning April 22nd, 2019 and ending on March 31, 2022, or take other necessary action.
Councilor Reed.
Yes, Mr. James Wilson is one that I would recommend for the Planning and Zoning Commission. I was looking over the name and it kind of gagged me. I believe this is the same Jim Wilson.
Yeah.
So I got to put him through because that was my high school principal. So I highly recommend him at this time for the position of Planning and Zoning, and that would be my motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on that recommendation?
I'm just glad that we've got him on a board and got him functional, because he's a smart man in our community, and he needs to stay active. I like him a lot. Couldn't have picked a better person myself.
I'll have to remind him that they don't paddle students anymore.
Seems like that's personal. Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 2 passes. Item number 3.
Consider the appointment of Lathan Archie III to the Board of Adjustment to serve a 3-year term beginning April 22nd, 2019, and ending on March 31, 2022, or take other necessary action.
Counselor Reed again.
Lathan Archie is one that I would recommend for the Board of Adjustments. Been knowing him probably most of his life, if not all. Great young man to get involved in our committees, and I would at this time make the motion for Lathan Archie.
Second.
He's, I'll speak out. He's done a fantastic job on planning and zoning. I really appreciate him. He is a fine young man, and I think he'll really enjoy the excitement of the Board of Adjustment.
Okay,
And
I got it.
I'd just like to say one more thing. Lathan Archie is nowhere near the age of Councilman Reed, so therefore he must be a lot younger.
What's that?
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Any other positive comments?
Make a motion.
Roll
we
call.
Put Dan out today.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 3 passes. Item number 4, please.
Consider the appointment of Darrell Russell to the Merit System Board to serve a 2-year term beginning April 22nd, 2019, and ending on March 31, 2021, or take other necessary action.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes, Darrell Russell is employed with the Armstrong Bank, and he currently serves on the Planning and Zoning Commission and has served as chairman for the Urban Renewal Authority since his appointment in 2011. He also serves on the board of Muskogee County EMS and the ICTC board. While I don't really know Darrell personally, I'm told that he comes highly recommended for this position due to his leadership and decision-making skills. He will be a good fit for the board. I move the appointment of Darrell Russell to serve a 2-year term beginning April 22nd, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Definitely.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 4 passes. Item number 5.
Consider the reappointment of Melanie Carey to the Historic Preservation Commission to serve a full 3-year term beginning April 22nd, 2019, and ending on March 31, 2022, or take other necessary action.
Counselor Hall.
This is my appointment. Melanie Carey worked at the high school with her for a long time, worked in the school district with her, even up at the Ed Center. Believe it or not, she was able to keep me under control up there. Felt like she was my personal teacher. Great lady. She's always been active in everything she does. She writes even a little article for the newspaper everyone wants about, teach y'all how to cook. But she completed a term for someone that had to step off for a little bit, and then we reappointed her to this committee again. Just a great lady. Did she spank you too, Patrick?
Does she? No, and she was one of my teachers when she first started teaching. Doesn't she live in the Historic Preservation District?
Yes, she does.
I think she does. I think that's she'll do a wonderful job, has done a wonderful job, and will continue to do a wonderful job.
Yes. So I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes.
Item number 5 passes. I've had one asking to speak. Ivory Van.
Ivory Van, 4338 Columbus Street. Good evening, committee. Reason I'm up here this evening is because last week we had OML here to visit our city, and they have a leadership program, and it started here in Muskogee. So you have to go to 6 cities. And they were so impressed with the city council, the mayor, the city manager, and also the hotels that they stayed at. So they wanted to leave something behind to remember them by. And so I got some pins that right here will go in your suit, and for the ladies also in your suits. So they presented these to me the other day, Cheryl Adams and Miss M.J. Borton. So they wanted me to give these to the members that I haven't gave them to tonight. I've already given them to some. I gave them to the mayor, the city manager. But the rest of you, I wanted to present these pins to.
Thank you.
I think the only reason Ivory does this is he knows we can't talk back.
Thank you. Will you pin mine on later?
You brought me mine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So on behalf of the OML, we'd like to thank each one of you again, and thank you for all the hard work you do here for our city. And like I said, they will be back, and like I said, they were very, very impressed with our city. And also, we had a lot of good food at the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame. Mayor Boston, we had some good food. OML fed us well. So I just wanted you to know that. But thank you all again, though.
Thank you, Mr. Van. That will conclude our Public Works Committee meeting for this evening.
And next, we will call to order a special call meeting of the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority. And roll call.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
We are accounted for. Roll call, please. Oh, you already did that. Item 1.
Consider approval of MRA minutes December 11, 2017.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes. Item 1 passes. Item 2.
Consider approval of resolution number 2754, authorizing the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority to extend the maturation of a note, Series 2016A, in the aggregate principal amount of $1,600,000 used for capital improvements to the Love Hatbox Sports Complex in the city of Muskogee, providing the maturation date of the note shall extend from March 31, 2019 to March 31, 2022, authorizing the executive director to execute an extension and ratification agreement subject to the terms and conditions set forth herein, and renewing the pledge of funds as set forth in the original loan documents, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Madam Chairwoman and members of the members of the trust, this, you may remember, was originally requested back in 2016. The purpose of this money from the Muskogee Medical Center Authority was to construct certain capital improvements in anticipation of our first G-Fest back in 2016. We used $1.6 million of those funds. All of them have been expended. Some of that went to do the RV hookups to construct the road off of, I believe it's Border. And so all those funds were spent, and we anticipated being able to pay the principal and interest off with revenue from 3 years of G-Fest, as well as revenue from the VA parking lease that we have, as well as additional revenue from the rentals from the RV spaces. As you know, the funding from G-Fest did not turn out to be as much as we had anticipated. However, we still do have the revenue from the VA parking lease, which is being used to pay this note. This was a originally 3-year note at 3% interest. And so we have been making payments on that. And what we had asked, what staff had approached the Muskogee Medical Center Authority for, was to ask for an additional extension of 3 years so we could continue to utilize the funds for that were being, the revenue from the VA parking lease. And additionally, the other reason for expanding it for this period of time is in anticipation of potential payouts or I don't want to say payouts, but funding that may be transferred to the city from the Muskogee Medical Center Authority, much like it happened in a prior year, and that funding, of course, paid off the $800,000 loan that we had with them for those GFest expenses. So this was presented to the Muskogee Medical Center Authority at their meeting on the 26th, and it was approved. And so the Redevelopment Authority, who took out the loan, is being asked to approve it. You will see an additional item on our City Council special call that is occurring after this to approve that as well. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. This motion would be to approve the resolution, which includes the authorization of the Executive Director to execute the extension and ratification of agreement, changing the maturation date to March 31st, 2022. Happy to answer any questions.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Patrick Cale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Vane.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes. Item 2 passes. Item 3.
Consider approval of a management agreement for events serving alcoholic beverages and beer between the City of Muskogee and the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker?
Madam Chairman, members of the Trust, this is a proposed management agreement between the Redevelopment Authority and the City of Muskogee. The Redevelopment Authority has as one of its trust obligations to promote, finance, develop recreational, cultural, tourism, entertainment, and communication media projects or facilities. So as a result, we do think the MRA is an appropriate avenue for which to for the city to contract with for purposes of management of events with the sale of alcoholic beverages. As I stated in the background to this item, municipalities are prohibited under Oklahoma law from maintaining any sort of alcoholic beverage license. Much like when it comes to cities taking on debt and having to use public trusts as a vehicle to do that, under the rules of the Able Commission and the new statute that was recently adopted, there is a provision which will allow public trusts to hold an ABLE license. And so that we can continue to maintain and host public events that sell beer, wine, and mixed beverages, this type of agreement is what was recommended for us to put into place through conversations with our friends at the Able Commission. And so we bring this for you tonight for your consideration. Additionally, one of the things that we will be asking, if you decide to approve this, is to grant some additional authority for the city manager to incorporate any amendments that are required by the Able Commission. This is something that is not routine for Able, particularly since the liquor and alcohol laws have changed so significantly. As many of you may remember in the past, this was really not an issue because if there was an event that the city or one of its entities was putting on, we simply sold 3-2 beer. And Able Commission did not license 3-2 beer. But since 3-2 beer is no longer an option in Oklahoma, we're having to make some modifications. So I do not anticipate that we will be the only city who is utilizing a public trust to hold a liquor license, but we certainly are one of the first. One of the ones who's done it, one of the cities that have done it the longest has been the city of Tulsa with the BOK Center. And so, as a result, with these changes in the laws, we anticipate that there may be some back and forth between us and the Able Commission in order to get that license taken care of. I do want to alert you that the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority's liability policy will not cover the sale of alcohol. So as a result, staff approached OMAG, who is our insurer, and they put us in contact with a group called Midlands, which is a Safety National company. Some of you may remember that. They do our reinsurance, or have done our reinsurance on our workers' comp. So we reached out to them and secured a quote for an additional liability policy which would cover the sales of alcohol. And they did quote us. Of course, that liability policy is contingent upon us obtaining an ABLE license, and the premium for that is $1,320.76. So we're not talking about a huge additional cost for that additional liability policy, but it is something that we needed to make sure and that we have in place. Because if if we didn't have the separate policy and there was an issue, then our general OMAG policy would not cover it. So we did need to include a separate item. With that, I am happy to answer any questions. I'm speaking partially on my own accord, but also on behalf of Mr. Garvin, who manages the Civic Center. He is in favor of doing this as well as John Cruz, who is the floor manager of the Civic Center, who's always there. So both of them are in favor of it, and I am authorized to convey that to you all. So happy to answer any questions, and I do recommend approval.
Move second.
Move for approval, and I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
And so just so we're clear, Chairwoman Trustee Stout, is your motion to approve the agreement as well as authorizing the city manager to incorporate and execute any modifications required by ABLE Commission?
Yes.
And
Oh, yeah, I'm
Trustee
seconding that
Hall,
all the way.
thank you.
Yes.
A roll call.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
No.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes. The motion carries, and that's the last item. We will adjourn the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority and call to order the special call meeting of the Muskogee City Council. And do the roll call, please.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kell.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
The motion carries. And item 1.
Consider the appointment of Evelyn Hibbs as Ward 1 City Councilor to serve until the next regular election in accordance with City Charter 206, filling the vacancy created by the appointment of Janie Boydston as mayor, or take other necessary action.
Yes, this is my appointment, and I highly recommend Evelyn Hibbs to take my place on the city council. She has been a local treasurer for a long time and knows how things work, and I think she will be an outstanding addition to this group. And I move her appointment.
Second.
Second.
I'll beat you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I think Evelyn will be great. She's active in the community and does an excellent job. So we're excited to have her.
Yes.
I just think Ms. Hibbs is a wonderful, wonderful lady.
Boy, that's a mark for you. All right, roll call.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries, and welcome aboard. And item 2.
Consider approval of resolution number 2755, approving the extension of the maturation of a note series 2016A in the aggregate principal amount of $1,600,000 incurred by the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority to facilitate certain capital improvements to the Love Hatbox Sports Complex in the city of Muskogee, approving said extension of the note from March 31, 2019 to March 31, 2022, authorizing and directing the execution of other documents relating to the transaction.
Mr. Tucker.
Mayor Boydston, this is the compendium item to the action taken by the Redevelopment Authority. One thing I did fail to mention is that MMCA Executive Director Jim Blair is also in the audience, should you have any additional questions for him. Otherwise, I recommend approval and happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Should call Jim up here.
Roll call.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes. Item passes. Item 3.
Consider approval of a management agreement for events serving alcoholic beverages and beer between the City of Muskogee and the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Mayor Boydston, this item was just approved by the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, and since the city is a party to that contract, we're also asking for the city to approve that as well. Happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
No.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Boydston.
Yes. And the motion carries, and that is the last item on our agenda, so we stand adjourned.